I still remember the message. It came in at 11:47 p.m. the night before my birthday. You're no longer welcome in this house. Don't come back. It was from my father. No love you, no explanation, just a sentence that split my life in two. At that moment, I wasn't angry. I just sat there, staring at the screen, thinking, he really has no idea who he's talking to. Because what my father didn't know was that I owned the house he was living in. In fact, I owned the entire neighborhood. I'm Ethan, the failure of the family. At least that's what my father called me. My older brother, Marcus, ran the family's car dealership, the pride of the household. My mother kept the books, and me? I was the disappointment with a laptop. They said I was wasting my life chasing fake money online, that my so-called crypto projects were just scams waiting to collapse. When I dropped out of college to start my company, my father said one thing I'll never forget. Real men build things with their hands, not with fantasies on a screen. He didn't even come to my graduation, the one he didn't know I had. I tried to explain what I was building, a digital asset fund that helped small investors buy into real estate safely using blockchain. But my father just laughed. Crypto, you might as well sell snake oil. He cut me off completely. No support, no calls. He told everyone in the family I was lost to the internet. So I packed a duffel bag and left home. I promised myself I'd never go back unless I had a reason that even he couldn't ignore. The first year was brutal. I slept on a friend's couch, ate noodles for breakfast, lunch, and dinner. There were nights I doubted everything. But every time I wanted to quit, I remembered his voice. You'll come crawling back. You'll see. That sentence became my fuel. I called my company Nova Capital Holdings. At first, it was just me and my laptop. But slowly, one investor became two became 10, and within 3 years, Nova was managing millions. We specialized in buying distressed properties, homes that banks were about to foreclose on. We'd clear the debt, fix them up, and rent them out. Ironically, I started buying in the same area I grew up. The irony wasn't planned, but fate has a dark sense of humor. By year 5, I was worth more than my entire family combined. But I stayed quiet. I drove an old Honda, wore the same clothes, kept everything low-key. Because I wasn't chasing revenge, I was chasing peace. At least until that text came in. When my father sent that message, telling me I wasn't welcome, I didn't reply. I didn't block him either. I just sat there. The next morning, my property manager called me. Hey Ethan, bit of a situation. The owner of 214 Ashgrove is trying to list the property for sale. Says it's his house. I frowned. 214 Ashgrove? That was their address. My parents. I said calmly, it's not his house. It's ours. Nova Capital owns it. The manager paused. Oh, so that's your dad? Yeah, that's my dad. A week later, I decided to visit. First time in almost 7 years. When I pulled up, he was outside washing his truck. He froze when he saw me. What are you doing here? He barked. Just came to talk, I said. Talk? You disappear for years and now you show up out of nowhere? We're selling this place. It's over. I smiled slightly. You can't sell it. He narrowed his eyes. What's that supposed to mean? It's not yours to sell, I said. He laughed bitterly. It's been in my name for 20 years. Who do you think you are? I'm the one who owns your mortgage, I said quietly. Through my company. He froze. The hose slipped from his hand, water spilling onto the driveway. What did you say? I bought your debts 2 years ago. The house, the land, even the dealership's property. All of it. For a long moment, he didn't speak. Then he stormed inside, grabbed some papers, and slammed them on the porch table. See, my name right here. You're lying. I slid my phone across, showed him the ownership record. Nova Capital Holdings. He stared at it, then at me. Nova? That's you? Yeah, the company you said would never last a month. He looked like he wanted to say something, but his throat locked up. His face turned red. He muttered, "You bought your own parents' house?" "I saved it. You were 3 months from foreclosure. I stepped in." He fell silent. My mom came out just then, wiping her hands on a towel. "Ethan?" she whispered, like she couldn't believe it was me. When she heard what had happened, she covered her mouth, tears in her eyes. Dad finally sat down. His voice shook. "All these years, I thought you were wasting your life." He paused. "I didn't know you were building an empire." I didn't say anything. For once, he wasn't yelling. Then, almost in a whisper, "Why didn't you tell us?" I looked him in the eyes. "Would you have listened?" He didn't answer, and he didn't need to. A few days later, I invited them both to dinner. Not just anywhere, to Seraphine, a high-end restaurant downtown. He didn't know it was one of my businesses. We sat in silence at first. Then he finally said, "So, all those years, you were the guy they called the ghost investor? That was you?" I nodded. He exhaled slowly. I don't know whether to feel proud or ashamed. Maybe both, I said with a small smile. He chuckled softly. "You're your mother's son. You know that." For the first time in years, the tension broke. Over dinner, I told them everything. The failed startups, the nights I almost gave up, the mistakes, the breakthroughs. My mom listened, tears streaming silently. My dad, he just kept staring at the table, shaking his head in disbelief. When I told him Nova now held over 200 residential properties and funded 3 local businesses, he almost laughed. "I called you a failure," he said. "Turns out you were the one keeping this town alive." I smiled. "You didn't fail me, Dad. You just pushed me harder than you realized." He nodded slowly. "And you still came back." "I came home," I said. Big difference. A few weeks later, I transferred the house deed into their names. Free and clear. No loans, no payments. When my mom saw the paperwork, she hugged me like she'd never let go. My father stood by the window, quiet. Then he turned and said something I never expected to hear. "I'm proud of you, son." I didn't say anything, just nodded. Because for years, I dreamed of that sentence. Now that I'd heard it, I realized I didn't need it anymore. A month later, I was back in my apartment. Top floor, skyline view. I looked out at the city lights. Every block, every property, tiny glowing dots of what I'd built. I thought about the boy who left home with nothing but a backpack and a wounded heart. And I smiled, because sometimes the best revenge isn't proving someone wrong. It's showing them what's possible even after they stop believing in you. My father and I still talk now. He even asked me to teach him how to buy crypto. I told him, "Let's start with trust first." He laughed, and for the first time, it felt real. They say success changes people. Maybe it doesn't. Maybe it just shows who is real all along. I didn't build Nova to get even. I built it to break the curse. The idea that your worth depends on who believes in you. Because sometimes the people who shut the door on you end up living in the house you built. So if you've ever been told you're a failure, remember this. They don't see what's coming. You do. And when that day arrives,
Don't gloat. Just smile. Because silence is the loudest kind of success.